are on the live. Yay. Let me make some adjustment here on this camera a little bit. So, uh, let's see if we can get this working good. There we go. That's better. So, anyway, Clark's Wallabees. Oh my gosh. Fifth or sixth grade in Marina Del Rey, California. I was living with my daddy. And I got my first pair of wallabies, and the big story was, hey, if you get the the $200 ones are made out of kangaroo or koala bear. I don't know if that was ever true, but they were. I think the high dollar ones were like 100, and then usually you get them for about 50, $60. But like I had a pair of Vanigans, those red basketball shoes, because they made them down in Mar Vista, I think off of Venice Boulevard. They had a little tiny store. I mean, tiny. And you walked in there, it was probably like a 10 by 30 or something. And they handmade them there, and you only had a few things to pick from. So the only kind of coolest thing was the red ones. And so I had a pair of red ones. And I just really didn't care for them. Uh, Red was a grandeur improvement as far as the kind of shoe, because they just had the tennis shoe and then a few colors. They didn't have anything fancy back then. And and today Vans are big time. I mean, chicks wear them, dudes wear them, everybody just loves them. I still hate them. Um, but probably because of the waffle print. If you get in mud, then it tracks mud all over and waffles all over somebody's house. But the cool thing was wallabies, man. Yeah, there was this boy, and I was like in fifth or sixth grade, and down in Marina Del Rey, going down like Via Marina to Washington Boulevard, on the right hand side, right behind that little strip mall, uh, there was a vacant lot, and this boy was like, "Hey, you want to go to our like man cave thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." He takes me to this vacant lot and then uncovers like this hole, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And I always wanted to be with the boys, like the clubhouse, the treehouse club, all that stuff. Girls were not supposed to be in those things, but I always wanted to be, because I did more dude things than girl things. And anyway, so I he uncovers this hole, kind of like in the middle of this big lot, vacant lot, and we go down in there, and it's like there was like three boys that dug this tunnel. And I mean, it was like being in the military, you had to crawl and crawl and crawl. And then when you got towards the back, and they probably dug this crap with spoons for all I know. Um, when you got it back, he had a little TV back there, and then they were gonna rig it up to like a car battery, and and had a couple things back there, and we just sat there and talked, and like he burned a candle or something, or had a flashlight, and we sat and hung out and stuff, and talked, and uh, I said, "So why do you wear those shoes instead of Vans?" And he's like, he had wallabies, and he says, "Oh no, they're the best, like for skateboarding, man, for sidewalk surfing." And I'm like, "Really?" I said, "I want to do that." And he says, "Well," he says, "Here, you can try mine on." Tried his on, and they were kind of a little dingy. They were beige like this, and I think back then they only came in dark brown and beige, and today they come in all rainbow of colors. And so uh, he said, "I'll sell them to you because I'm getting a new pair." And the things you do in fifth grade. And I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, how much?" And he wanted like $10, right, for his used wallabies. that I could fit. And so I said, yeah, I'll meet you out here tomorrow and I'll buy them from you. And so, I came back. I had $10 because I would save my lunch money to buy clothes. So I was like a little fat girl when I lived with my daddy, and it was a better investment to save money so I could buy cool clothes because my dad did not buy us a lot of clothes. We were kind of like in uniforms for his business. It was always white pants, white bell bottoms, and a blue or red shirt, and then have the business name on the shirt and everything. I guess so we'd always be ready to go and work when we got off school or whatever. Uh, we just kind of had like, I think it was like two or three pairs of pants and like two shirts. And then we had to, do the wash 2 times a week or something, including wash all his stuff. And so, anyway, uh, I bought this boy's wallabies, right? And tried to clean them up a little bit. Didn't do much good. And then saved my pennies and I bought some trucks for a skateboard because he said I could build a skateboard. And I said, cool. And so I saved my pennies, bought some trucks from him, bought some wheels from some of the other surfer boys. I had my first set of wheels were Cadillac wheels, and then the second ones were, um, it's not kryptonite wheels. What were they called? I can't think of them right now. But those were like the best wheels around. And I don't even think they make any of that stuff anymore. But anyway, and then I later designed my own skateboard and all that stuff. But these were really good for riding a skateboard because of the crepe sole. They would grip on that skateboard. And I couldn't do a whole lot of tricks. The boys would teach me and stuff, some different stuff. And then, I would take my skateboard just everywhere and I could just zip around, man, like to the bus stop, or to my dad's office, the corporate office, just boom, boom. I even designed my own skateboard and my dad helped me make it. But that was a thing, you know. And then I remember at one point I had put gold Christmas bells on each shoe, you know, because you had the bell bottoms, you had the wallabies, and then you had little bells. It was like that keep on trucking little sticker thing. You were so cool, you know. I must have drove my dad crazy. Yep, with those bells on the shoes. And then later my dad actually bought me like a new pair later. They were like $50 or something. And they were just the coolest thing in the world. And I like the real light color, but they change real quick. They get dirty real quick, and but the sole just lasts forever. And it's sad because this is a crepe sole, so it's a chewy sole. It's kind of like that rubber cement. We used to put it on our hands and peel it off when it dried, and it was kind of rubbery. That's pretty much what this is like. It's real flexible, rubbery base, and the only trait is like this, but it sticks. It sticks to everything, and it's real comfortable because it compresses, and then it has like this has leather removable inserts in it. These are vintage ones. These are Clark's originals, wallabies, and then that those flat laces, so you can tie them real good. And people would wear them till they'd come away from the sole and stuff, and they had the real good stitching. But they just looked kind of cool with bell bottoms. An ugly shoe, super ugly shoe, but they looked good with bell bottoms. You were totally cool with that. And it's so funny because today wallabies from Clark's go from like $100 to almost $300 if you go look at their website. And amazing, and they're in rainbow colors. They're in boys and girls, and you can buy some used on eBay, but they have a terrific resale value used. So if you ever run across those and you're a reseller, grab them up, clean them up. And I got these used, and I'm hesitant to even keep them, because I want to resell them. because of the great memories, and they were just so comfortable. They're just really ugly shoe. Um, and bell bottoms are hard to come by. They're just now coming back in fashion. But oh my gosh, did you have a pair of Clark's Wallabees? They're incredible shoes. Highly suggested, especially if you're a skateboarder. 100%. These people that are wearing Vanagons are foolish. Clark's Wallabees is the one. That's the one you want to wear skateboarding. Really comfortable shoe. They may be super ugly, but I'm going to tell you there's really a comfortable shoe. And I mean, they were worth every penny from that boy that I bought mine from, like in fifth grade for $10. Um, and the only thing is, if you have to take them to shoemaker, shoemakers hate them because all this has to be stripped off to the boot, and then they have to order this crepe sole to put on it. I don't even think the new ones are made out of crepe sole anymore. But the crepe sole was the thing. The crepe sole stuck to your skateboard. Okay? That was the thing. The crepe sole is what stopped you when you're riding a skateboard. You know what I mean? You could brake real easy, with the other foot. But that was the trick, was to have Clark's Wallabees. So bravo to those great people that still make those Clark's Wallabees. And those were some cool years, man. Yeah, buddy. That was sidewalk surf all over Southern California, man. But the trick is to have Clark's Wallabees. Yeah. I was a surfer girl in California. Yep. And that's what the surfers wore. That's what the skateboarders wore. That was what was in, man. They were amazing. So I hope you got a chance to try them in your lifetime. Whether you're a girl or guy, they're ultimately comfortable shoes. They're quite expensive today, but like I say, you can order them on eBay used. And, 60, $70. For pretty to bear. So I hope you had as good a memories with Wallabies as I did. Ugly shoe, but oh my gosh, they're so comfortable and they were perfect for skateboarding. I'm talking perfect. Hey, number one, did you have a pair? Comment below. And I'll see you in the next one. I promise. I love you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Have the best day.